Hey everyone, I'm Reagan Black. I'm back with some more inspiration for your writing journey. And today I want to talk a little bit about deadlines. And I think it's Dave Barry who says, I love deadlines. I love the sound they make when they go whooshing past. And early in my career, deadlines seems like a really scary word. And early in my career, like any writer, I was a little afraid of that big bad D word, deadline. But when you start to think about it, nothing gets done without a deadline. Nothing really gets done without a due date. Okay, you really don't even come into the world without a due date, right? So nothing gets done without that. So you need to think about those deadlines and embrace them as a good thing. This is the point when I know this particular project will be done. That's exciting, that's important, that's motivating, all right? And so when you start to look at deadlines that way, that can be very, very helpful. Now, early in my career, I heard Cheryl Ann Porter say that if you're going to be a writer, excuse me, she hoped you had a big family. She said this during a conference because she felt it was really important since in her life, every time she was on deadline, someone in her family died. And so if you were going to be a writer and you were going to be prolific, she wanted to make sure you had a big family. And of course, she was kind of teasing, but it's true. Crisis happens. And today I want to share some tips with you to help when you're in a deadline crunch. But I also want to just kind of give you some background and just understand life happens to us every day. And life doesn't always come in and pay attention to what we have due when. And recently, my deadline was the 15th of September on this recent deadline. And I have turned my book in. But the week before that, I was looking at my schedule and I knew what I wanted. And the week before that, I saw that Hurricane Irma was coming in. And our daughter lives in Florida, and I'm really good in storms. I grew up in Tornado Alley. I thought, okay, no, we've got this. We've got all our preparedness stuff. We're okay. Turns out I'm not as good in a storm when one of my babies is out and far and not in the nest. I wanted all my chicks in the nest, and that didn't happen. And I wasn't as relaxed or steady in this particular instance because I was worried about her. It was our first experience with her being away in this type of a situation, and it wasn't looking really good. And of course, hurricanes give us a lot of time to be concerned about tracks and plans and forecasts. And even when we're prepared, it ramps up some anxiety. So here I am, I'm thinking, well, if I buckle down for the next few days, I can get this sucker done. And then no matter what happens to Irma, the book's turned in early, and it's a good thing. Except I couldn't do it. I was too distracted by Irma to get the book turned in early. Okay. Well, that's okay because I still had time. So, we got through Irma. Well, then we're dealing with 9/11, and the memorials were very important. And I think, 9/11 affected the United States in a variety of ways, and it affected us individually in a variety of ways. And 9/11 has always been a day when it affected our family a great deal, and I've always been a little edgy ever since on that day. So this year on 9/11, with my deadline being the 15th, Irma comes through and starts battering the house, and we had rain and wind, and it was just a blip compared to what they got down in Florida. Of course, we didn't have any significant damage, but it was just that constant distraction. Here comes another rain band. Here comes another tornado warning. I mean, for a while there, it was like, the tornado warnings were coming about every 3 minutes, and I was like, are we in labor? It was just kind of one of those things. But that's just how it was. It was a distraction. And I got some progress made toward my deadline, but not what I wanted. Another distraction on 9/11 itself, very good news from my publisher in New York. That's fantastic. I was very excited. So that was a high. So we've got Irma, and we've got 9/11, and then we've got the high of this great news out of the publisher, and that's wonderful, wonderful things. I loved that email from my editor. It was great, and it was nice to have that high. But again, whether it's good news or bad, it's a distraction. And then some things started happening with my kids. So Tuesday rolls around and I'm like, okay, I'm good now. I can get this done. I've made some good progress. I can just focus. Tuesday rolled around and had some health problems. The kids were having some questions that they needed our help with, and that's fine. And it was just on and on and on. Okay, so it was a big long week, and here we are. I think it's only Thursday. And so in the midst of having this deadline and having planned for it as best I could previous to it, here comes life with just distractions from every quarter. Okay, so when you're on deadline, you need to be able, I want to give you some tips for this. You need to be able to plan for the chaos. Okay, so as I looked at my calendar when this deadline was initially set, I knew that this particular week is the week that I need to stay immersed in the book. We had already planned that when I'm at this stage of the book that we were, the dinner is adjusted, the workout schedule is adjusted, the housekeeping schedule, all those things that I normally manage a certain way, all of that gets adjusted on deadline week so that I can immerse completely and give the book the best possible revision. These are the last days. This is the polishing before I send it off to the editor. And I really need to be immersed in that process and really sink into it. So that's my only focus. So my tips for you when you're looking at that, number one is to plan for these crunch days. No matter how consistently you're writing life, when that deadline approaches, when you know this is the cutoff date, everything has to be good right here, plan for that crunch time. Adjust your schedule, adjust your commitments accordingly for that crunch time. That's my first tip, is plan ahead. So way back when this was set, I knew this week was going to be tough. I didn't know it was going to be quite as tough as it's been, but I knew it was going to be, I knew this was my crunch time, so I planned for it. We made, we've done all that. We've had deadline lasagna, that kind of thing, okay? That's when my husband cooks lasagna and we just eat lasagna until it's gone, so we don't have to think about cooking. Okay, the second thing, now this wasn't very easy on Monday or even Sunday or even Saturday before that when everything was talking about the storms, but the second tip for you, want to plan for your week and adjust your schedule. The second thing is make pockets of time for you to be able to stay in the moment with your project. Okay, stay in the moment. I got to the point Tuesday, Wednesday, and most of today, I was putting my phone in another room on silent. And I would only check it when I had to get up for more coffee. Okay? So do things that will help you stay in the moment. If that's putting your headphones in and listening to, music, if whatever it is, if it's setting a timer and, nobody talk to me until this is done, whatever those things are, make pockets of time for you to stay in the moment so you can meet your deadline with confidence, so you can keep your focus and concentration. All right? And to that end, I will also say that don't waste that time in the moment beating yourself up for what didn't get done earlier. I mean, I could have spent all day Tuesday lamenting what I did not get done Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Instead, I looked at Tuesday and I said, this is all the time I have to get these changes in and to make this book really shine. And I buckled down and I did it. Okay? So that's just part of growing as a writer, is realizing that you can beat yourself up about what you haven't written, or you can sit down, clear your head, and write. Okay, so that's my second tip for you. Number 3, when I was looking at this week, okay, the 15th is my deadline. Yay! Okay, what am I going to do on the 16th? What am I going to do on the 17th? How am I going to celebrate? What am I going to do to reward myself for making it through that deadline crunch? And many of you know I often buy a bottle of cheap champagne and just kind of chill out after the book is turned in. And based on the good news out of New York this week as well, the good news from my editor, that happy distraction that happened while Irma was battering our house, I might buy a little bit more pricey bottle of champagne. I may treat myself this time. But, that, it's just one of those things. I really wanted to celebrate that great news. And all I did at the time was just, yay, share the news with my husband and get right back to work because of the deadline. All right, so no matter what those distractions are, make a plan ahead of time. Find ways to focus and stay in the moment in your crunch week, and make sure that you also have a reward in mind for when you've turned your project in. I hope that helps you, and be sure to, if you need more help on your writing journey, be sure to reach out to me. You can reach out to me here. You can find more writing resources at reaganblack.com, whatever works for you. I've got plenty of books out there on writing as well. So please reach out if I can be of more help to you on your writing journey. In the meantime, write well and live the adventure. Bye.